In this tutorial, I'll be talking about proxies. These are the notes under proxies. Proxies are meant to delay the instantiation of an object until when the object is needed. The meaning is that if the object is not needed, the object will not be instantiated. By doing this, it has two great benefits. The first one is that it avoids waste of resources, because if an object is not needed, why do we have to instantiate it? And also, it gives us better performance, because there won't be any extra effort needed in instantiating an object that will not eventually be used in our code. So it means our code is going to run faster if there are services that are not needed. Let's take this exercise. We are to delay the instantiation of a heavy object until the request parameter ID is set to 1. So let us do the coding. So this is from our last tutorial. The first thing we have to do here is to create the heavy service. So let us create it under the model. Let us assume we have a class. We call it heavy service. So assume we have heavy operation coming from this service. So in the constructor of the class, we can print something in the constructor of the class. This will allow us to know when the object is being instantiated, because we know that when an object is being instantiated, the constructor method has to be called. So let us echo heavy service has been instantiated. So every service has been instantiated. So we can also have another method, public function, just to print something. Maybe we can say we are printing print every service message. You can just print something. So message from every service class. So this is our every service. So we want to use this service in our controller. So let's go to the controller. And the question says the object must be instantiated only when the ID is set to 1. So it means we need our request. So let us import the HTTP class so that we can get the parameter of our request. So we have Magento framework, this app request, and we have HTTP. So let us write the member variable here. So we are using this to get our parameter in the request. So we can inject. We have HTTP. Okay. Let us assign the value. http equals $http. So we have this now. So another thing we have to do is to import our every service class. So let me copy the path. So let's go to the controller again. So I have this. Let's get a member variable here. We call this $every service. Okay. You can inject into our controller and we can assign the value here in the controller. So we have this. So assuming we have our ID to be what we have in the controller, same thing as let us get the HTTP. We can get, so let's get the param. This HTTP get param. Okay. So we have the key to be ID, and we have a default setting. Let's assume the default value is 0. So if this value ID is 1, this is the only case wherein we instantiate our every service. In this position, we want to call this method every service print every service message. Yes. And otherwise, you should print something like every service not used. So we have a message like this. Wow. Okay. Every service not used. So this is what we have. Okay. I think we can add a break here. Okay. So this is, we are using the every service now without any proxy. So let's check our browser and see the results. So let's clean the cache. So let's see the results. That's very slow. Okay. You can see the result is every service has been instantiated and every service is not used. So why do we have to instantiate a class that is not being used? So that is what Proxy is doing. So now we'll be adding Proxy to it, and when it is not being used, this service will not be instantiated. Let us add Proxy. So the way to add Proxy is to go to our di.xml. So we are adding Proxy as an argument to this class because we are injecting the service in the hello world class. So we should be adding a proxy to this class. So we have type. This is a type. And we have arguments. So the name is every service. And we can write the type. You can still remember this. So this is object. So, and now instead of using this is our model. All we have to do is just to copy the path to this and add proxy to it, and that is all. This is all we have to do. Copy the path of the class and we now add a proxy to it. So in this case it will be using a proxy and not the actual class. Okay, we are having some error here. So we're having an error here because we've used this class before. So all we need to do is just to copy the argument, and this is the class. So you can paste it here and remove this. So this time around we are using a proxy. So let us clean our cache. So let's check the browser. So you have to refresh. You can see that every service is not used and it is not being instantiated. So that is what Proxy is doing. But if you set the parameter to be 1, in this case the service is being used. So every service has been instantiated and the message you have, the message from every service class. So in this case every service class is being used and that is why it is being instantiated.